Hello, welcome back to the Divided We Fall podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Greg.
And we missed last week because it was an Easter holiday. I hope everyone had a great Easter. But today's episode... Also, Lindsay's not here. She's, I think, sleeping. I don't know. Lindsay, if you're watching this, wakey wakey, it's time for school. What?
I said shame.
Yeah, I'm kidding. But yeah, today is a special episode for Greg because he loves us talking about this topic so much. I don't think we've actually ever talked about it, but on the podcast. But yeah, this is a special place in Greg's heart. So take it away.
So I am a really big advocate of the Second Amendment, and reading it kind of as it is written, as I do with most of the Constitution. But there are some in our government, some who hold the highest office in the land, who believe that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Mr. Joe Biden. He declares this as he decides that he wants to roll out a string of executive orders. He's already signed one, I believe, to override the legislature and infringe on the rights of the American public even further. By restricting and trying to ban certain weapons through executive action rather than through legislative action. Now, I don't believe the legislature should even be touching the Second Amendment either, because the words shall not be infringed, stand out pretty heavily to me. And if Mr. Joe Biden wants to claim that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute, and he references you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, well, that's not exactly free speech, Joe. Yelling fire in a crowded theater causes harm, direct harm to another, which does not fall under the Freedom of Speech Amendment. Now, the amendment to freedom of speech is different to the amendment that allows us to keep and bear arms. They are written differently. They are meant to be different. You can't imply every single, nuance of the First Amendment, i.e. screaming fire or calling to action. You're not allowed to call to action either. You can't say, go kick that guy's ass because I don't like him. That does not fall under freedom of speech. Now saying, man, I wish somebody could kick that guy's ass does fall under freedom of speech because that's not a call to action. That's a nuance. But the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed has very little nuance. I believe the founders knew from the start that we were going to become more advanced technologically. We went from having sticks and stones to swords and bows to muskets to rifles. They weren't stupid people, the people who wrote the Constitution. They knew that there was going to be technological advances.
You're talking about Benjamin Franklin here, who helped write this stuff. One of the smartest guys in American history. So
people weren't stupid when writing the Constitution. People knew what was coming. Mm-hmm. Our founding fathers knew what was coming. And back during the Revolution, they had these kind of quote-unquote automatic weapons. Back then, they had things like the pepper box revolver, which shot multiple rounds at a time. Similar, it's not to the same extent as some of the military weapons we have today and around the world, but there were weapons that shot that you didn't have to just keep pulling the trigger. Or pull the trigger once, flip the gun around, pull out the rod, put the musket ball in, pour in some gunpowder, pack it down, pull out the rod, put the rod back, pick up, aim, fire, and repeat.
And it's not like the Constitution was like their first go at it. They failed with the Articles of Confederation. That was a huge flop. So it's not like they just knew that the Constitution was going to work and everything that came with it. They knew what wasn't going to work and what was going to work because of what they had failed with.
And if we want to go on this thing where there's no amendment in the Constitution is absolute, what about the ending of slavery? What about the 13th Amendment? Are we going to, if you want to do this, if we want to claim, because the Second Amendment is the exact same and has all the same protections as every other amendment in the Constitution, unless you want to make a constitutional amendment to the Second Amendment, you want to add another constitutional amendment to the Constitution to change the Second Amendment, go for it. That's legal. Making these laws and writing executive orders is not legal. What if one day a president takes Joe Biden's words, because this is how politics works. One president says one thing, later on another president does another, and what if they want to, sign a little executive order that monkeys with the 13th Amendment? And now all of a sudden we have slaves again. Or we have indentured servitude, or things like that. That's legal, because it's illegal, but we have it legalized to private citizens. That's not okay. Same thing with the First Amendment. You can't ban the media. You when Donald Trump was talking about all this anti-media rhetoric, and people were up in arms you can't ban the media, you can't pick and choose media. Correct, you can't pick and choose media. You can't do that. It's the First Amendment. Just like how you can't pick and choose what gun the American people are allowed to own. You can't pick and choose. You have the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and all other amendments are absolute. If you believe in a God, they are God-given. These are not given by the government. These are human rights. Human rights. Not the government's rights to give to the people. These are human rights. Flat out.
Now here's a question. Would everyone still be up in arms if guns were replaced with swords?
Probably not. Now, some people will go, oh, but the mass shootings. The mass shootings. We banned assault rifles before. We did not ban assault rifles before. The only thing you did was you created loopholes, and a lot of people of the time and who were supportive of the 1994 assault weapons ban.
It was only fully automatic weapons, right?
There's a bunch of other laws like the ATF, I believe, or the AFT, which bans automatic weapons, and then the assault weapons ban only banned the black scary guns with high capacity magazines. But what the gun manufacturers did anyway was they just made, because I have a Smith & Wesson M&P rifle, which has a adjustable stock. If the stock was not adjustable, that would be a pistol. All you've done is you've made these loopholes. So now people can go buy things that look like rifles, but are considered pistols, and you've allowed loopholes. So now we have all these weird modifications to guns where you have a rifle that doesn't have a retractable stock, so therefore it's a pistol. Or if you put a stock onto a pistol, if you put a stock on a Glock, that is now a rifle. We have these weird modifications of rules now because of these stupid laws that were made that didn't even lower mass shootings. Most shootings in the United States are caused by pistol violence. Pistols cause most of the shootings. Not even caused. Pistols are used in most of the shootings in the United States. But we're not trying to ban a Glock 19. We're not trying to ban the Ruger. We're not trying to ban these pistols. We're banning the black scary weapons that aren't even used in most shootings across the United States. Yes, these semi-automatic, rifles look big, scary, and oh my god. But they're actually harder to use, harder to aim in a close quarter setting than a pistol, than a shotgun. But we're not trying to ban shotguns. We're not trying to ban pistols. Now, this isn't a call to ban the weapons that I just specified, but I don't understand this attack on assault weapons unless this is the stepstone into more banning of weapons. This has to be by the Biden administration and other Democrats who are okay with this, and any Republican who is okay with this, to ban these weapons, and then after these weapons are banned, then they expand on that. Okay, so now we don't ban the sales, because what the next the legislation that's being put through now, trying to get pushed through by Dianne Feinstein in the Senate, is we would just ban the manufacture of certain weapons. I think it was 600 weapons, specifically, these specific 600 weapons. The import and manufacture of these weapons. And you're not allowed to manufacture magazines that exceed 10 rounds. But if you already own these weapons, if this bill goes into effect, you're fine. You don't have to worry. Those aren't illegal because you already owned them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the next step then? Because if these mass shootings still happen, which they're going to, because the only thing you're doing is preventing legal access to these weapons, if a criminal wants to kill, the criminal is going to find a way to kill.
With swords it may be. I hope not.
So, the only thing you're doing is you're taking away weapons from law-abiding citizens by doing this. You're not taking away from the criminals. You're not. Black market is still a thing. That's how a lot of these weapons get into the hands of these shooters, is through the black market. It's through underground trading. And not through gun show loopholes, which is a fallacy. These gun show loopholes were made up, by the way. A lot of the time, you can't just walk into a gun show from a different state and pick up a weapon. Most of the time. Now, there are some gun shows, because I know there's going to be somebody who sees this and is like, well, that's a lie. There are some where you can get away with that, but not all of them. Okay? Thank you. Don't come at me. I'm heated.
I know.
So...
You get so heated about this topic so easily.
So... Now that we have the assault weapons banned, right? These assault weapons, a made-up term, by the way. The military does not describe these as assault weapon. This is a made-up term by the liberal media, because it actually was the liberal media that made this term up, and now politicians use it as if it's an actual effing term. We ban these weapons. We ban these weapons. What's next? These mass shootings still happen. With the weapons that were already on the streets that weren't owned by legal means in the first place. So then what? We confiscate the guns. Joe Biden wants to confiscate the guns then, right? Or whoever president is. I'm not saying that this is in his agenda, but this would be the next step. We confiscate the guns that already are on that are in the arms of law-abiding citizens. We confiscate the guns. Okay. Signed into law, boom, confiscated the guns. Then what? Oh, now there's a lot of shootings happening still. We ban certain pistols. No pistol, magazine over 5 bullets. Shootings are still happening. Okay, we ban pistols. Now we're England. We're not allowed to have guns. You know what happens? People who want to kill will still kill. There are still shootings in England. There are stabbings in England. If people want to kill, they will still kill. If there wants to be gang violence, there's still going to be gang violence, because gang members are criminals and they can't buy weapons. But they still have guns. Because they get it through illegal means. It is so simple. If you want to ban weapons, the only thing you're doing is making the populace less safe. The only reason the government has to fear weapons is because then they cannot enact laws that then infringe upon our rights. They're attacking the Second Amendment. What other amendments will they attack next? It's not just the Second Amendment. It's not just scary black guns. It's not just, what's next? What amendment is next? The First Amendment was already under attack.
Yeah, I was going to say, the media took care of the first one. You can't say anything nowadays.
The First Amendment. You can't say anything anymore. You can't do anything. And I know some people are like, you're just using that as an excuse to be racist. No. I don't say racist things. I don't act in a racist manner to anybody. I don't care who you are or what you do, as long as what you say is not a call to action. You can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Morally, if your morals are bad, if you just are a bad person and you want to be racist, that is your right to be racist. But as soon as you use your racism, you start attacking other people, then you are going to jail. Then you are a criminal. I do not support racism. I do not condone racism. But if you want to be a dickhead and be a racist, that is your First Amendment right.
This is America. Don't get you slipping.
You can't just pick and choose what guns are legal. What sayings are legal? What is legal?
Because then it brings in the whole argument of hate speech. Oh, what's hate speech? Hate speech is speech that causes violence to others, as a call to action. But hate speech is now just, oh, you disagree with me because you're a man, I'm a woman. Oh, you automatically hate whoever I am because we're different races. That's hate speech. It's like, no, you're getting that wrong. There's no predispositions based on race, gender, whatever, identity. So many people just get angry about who you are before they even know you.
I just don't understand. Let's define a mass shooting. All right, let's define a mass shooting. There isn't one. There is no legal definition of mass shooting.
Caught me off guard.
Surprise! As of 2017, there is none. Under the Clinton administration, I believe it was 6 people shot or injured in a shooting. Under the Obama administration, it's 4 people. And we still use the 4 people rule. 4 people injured or killed constitute a mass shooting.
I'm not sure about that.
That is the one definition that most of the federal government agrees upon.
Okay.
There is no one definition, though. Because of this one, there's variants. It's either 4 people killed,
4 people injured,
4 people injured, or a combination of 4 people killed and injured. There is no strict definition, according to PolitiFact. There is no legal definition.
And there never will be.
How do we then base banning weapons used mostly for hunting, like the AR-15 is used mostly for hunting and target shooting, not used, the AR-15, oh, the big black scary weapon, is not really used in mass shootings. There have been a couple, yes, of course it has been used, but it is not the weapon of choice. According to Pelosi, in 2017, 237 mass shootings happened. 273 mass shootings happened in 2017, according to Nancy Pelosi.
Has that number gone up or down?
That was as of 2017. So this is a quote from 2017 in 2017. So at this point in time, there were 273 days that have happened of 2017. 273.
Right, so yearly has that? I think that number has gone up.
Yearly, it varies. It varies per year. According to the FBI, in 2018, or between 2000, between 20. Oh my gosh.
Are you okay? Oh my god.
There's a lot of numbers on my screen right now. Between 2000 and 2018, there have been 277 active shooter incidents in the United States. Now, an active shooter incident, as defined by the FBI, does not define the weapon.
Right.
It just means that there is a shooter with a gun actively. 277 between 2000 and 2018. That's according to the FBI. Where did Pelosi get 273 mass shootings in 2017? According to the FBI, in 2017 there were 30 active shooters. In 2017 there were 729 casualties from those active shooters. The majority of these active shooters took place in commercial areas, so businesses and things like that. This was most of those were from 2000 to 2018. Active shooter incidents.
Gotcha.
Yes, that is a lot of. So in 2017, so there were. I misspoke. It was not 729 deaths. I think I said it's 729 casualties. Casualties is deaths and injuries mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
591 of those casualties were injuries. 138 were deaths in 2017.
Right.
Yes, This is all sad. Yeah. But you also have stories, according to the CDC, anywhere between 300,000 and 1 million possible deaths and rapes and murders are stopped by just bearing a firearm. If you are walking on the street and you just flash a firearm and having one on you, anywhere between 300,000 and 1 million lives are saved a year.
Which is a lot more than what the numbers you were saying before that actually end up actually happening.
Now, this isn't a biased source. This is according to the CDC. Anywhere between 300,000 and 1 million.
I know my dad said this, but any gun owner who, someone who owns a gun and has the right to bear arm and has their concealed carry license, they don't want to use it. I bet you every person I ask, they don't want to use their gun. They hope to God they never have to use their gun.
Exactly. I'm getting my concealed carry permit in a couple weeks. I'm going to be getting my first handgun in a couple weeks. And I don't want to have to use it. I'm getting it because I'm going to be living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel safe in the city. I have been stopped. This is personal experience now. This is anecdotal. So don't be like, this doesn't happen to everybody, because it doesn't. But when I walk the streets of the city that I live in, I carry a knife with me. I've had people stop me on the streets asking for money. This is a true story with one of my friends. I'm going to call him Jeff. I'm not going to disclose his real name.
Right.
We were walking on the street. We just hit a coffee shop that I saw. I noticed this coffee shop like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I want to go to this coffee shop again. So me and my friend go to this coffee shop in downtown, in the downtown city area. A guy stops us. He says, "Do you have any money?" I'm wearing a hat like that says our school logo. He's like, "Oh man, like I went there, blah 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 blah. Do you guys have any money?" I go, "No man, I don't got no money." I was taught by my parents. They grew up in Philadelphia. If someone comes up to you and asks you for money, you just say no and you keep walking. You don't give them the time of day. My buddy grew up in like Erie area. He didn't grow up in like a major city. He grew up in like a suburbs. His parents were born and raised in the suburbs. He didn't really understand that kind of interaction yet. We were fresh new to the city. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got some change that he just spent at the coffee shop."
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls out like a dime. I don't remember the exact amount. It was like a dime. Like it wasn't much. It was like 11 cents. And it's going to hit. He thought he was doing a good thing. He thought, okay, this guy needs some money. I'll give him what I have. I don't have a lot. Here's some money. Maybe the next, that's 10 cents. If he needs a bus ticket, the bus tickets are like $1.80. I got him a little closer to the bus ticket. The guy didn't want the 10 cents. The guy starts yelling, screaming, raving, following us up the street, threatening us the entire way. We get up about a couple blocks, and then we pass a couple of our university police, and he just walks away. That could have turned really bad. There weren't a lot of people around us either. That could have been really bad. Luckily, if it did go really bad, I did have a weapon on me to defend myself. But if I didn't, if this guy pulled a gun on me, you know what they say, you don't pull a knife in a gunfight. If he wanted to, he could have harmed me and my friend. These are real life scenarios that are happening daily in these cities. That guy could have been a part of a gang for all I know. I could have turned the corner. He could have been chasing me around a corner where he had more guys there. Then what? Situations can happen daily, and they do happen daily. Anything can happen at any period, and being safe and being secure is one of the most important things. I'm about to sound like Joe Biden. I'm like, look, I already have your attention, but look, listen to me real quick. Keeping and bearing arms is super important because it not just keeps you safe from criminals and things like that. It doesn't just keep your home safe, but it also intimidates the government to not infringe upon our rights even further as soon as we lose the ability to fight back against the government. Because the majority of the guns on planet Earth are in the United States, owned by private citizens. Not militaries. Private ownership in the United States is where the majority of the guns are. The government should fear that, but as soon as they start removing those weapons, because this was supposed to prevent a tyrannical government, either domestic or abroad, from infringing on our rights. George Washington was like, if I become a tyrant, gun down the government, rise up again. Our history is not the same history as Canada, Australia, other British colonies. Our history is we stood up against the crown and we fought back. And if we need to do it again,
it will happen.
That is our history. That is our way of life. That is why we have the Second Amendment, is to protect us from tyrannical governments. And what Joe Biden is saying now, how no constitutional amendment is definite. What was the exact quote here? No amendment to the Constitution is absolute. His exact quote, that is tyranny. That is a overreaching, tyrannical, authoritarian government telling you, the people, that he doesn't give a, pardon my language, he doesn't give a shit about you or what you need.
Here, let's read the actual Constitution. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Being necessary to security of a free state.
I just can't. I get so heated. I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, but we're hitting the 27-minute mark.
I've done projects on this. We will cut out some of the stuff. I want to thank everybody for watching, and see you in the next one.
Yeah, check out the everything TikTok. We'll have it on Spotify soon. All that good stuff. Comment, like, subscribe, all that shindigs. Facebook, check out the Facebook then too. Okay, bye.